Riperile, Dumalang, Sanbonani, Moloini, Limatikwana, Khoyana, and good evening. My name is Gladys Mkonabuitumelo, and I'll be presenting on how I intend to achieve my research objectives. The topic of my research focuses on the legacy of the Bantu Educational Act on South African school language policy. My research aims and objective will be based on readdressing the effects and issues of the language policy in South African schools, on how it hinders our learners' way of understanding, their eagerness to learn, and their way of communicating in their daily lives at school. Now, also be looking at the reasons why is the South African language policy put African languages at the backseat of English and Afrikaans. When dating from the colonial period, the socio-economic setting of South Africa has been remarkably unique. As in 1953, the Bantu Educational Act was passed. This act provided inferior education to black South Africans. It trained black people to be manual workers, and their schools were under-resourced. While Afrikaans alongside English were made compulsorily as medium of instruction. This policy was made by the government, the National Party, as part of their discriminatory policies against black people. When looking at the South African journey over the past few years, it has been extraordinary in an uncommon way, because when you look at the constitution, the current one, South Africa has 11 official languages which have been acknowledged equal in front of the law. But when it comes to the education system, it's a different story. As a result, several scholars investigated on the issue regarding the school language policy in the post-apartheid era. For example, we have Poetisi and Kroje, who wrote a book titled Asikhulume, African Languages for All. These scholars argued on how the current South African educational system reflects the legacy of the Bantu education, because even today, dysfunctional and poor schools are mostly utilized by the majority of black South African learners, while a number of proper resourced schools known as Model C are used by the privileged minority. Since I'm working in the space of education, of course, my theoretical framework will be drawn from a decolonial and a post-colonial theory in order to understand the what we call socio-political phenomena of South Africa. I'll be looking at the decolonial and post-colonial writers such as Homike Baba, Edward Shahidi, Ngungi Watongo, on how they discussed the issue of language. And also, I will further look at the contemporary writers who are leading the debate today about languages, such as Sabelo Ndlovu-Gajeni, Kollega Putuma, Siseko Kumalo from the University of Pretoria, and Professor Mpume Zondi. My study will be based on qualitative research methodology in order to collect data from various sections such as archival sources, museums, and monuments. Interviews will also be conducted to gather information from learners and teachers on the challenges that learners go through at school as a result of learning from a language that they don't understand, which is not their home language. My chapter outline will be based on 5 chapters. The first will be the contextual question, the second one, literature review, followed by the theoretical framework, and then methodology, and the conclusion as well. And my devoted time for my research is estimated to be at least 7 months. In conclusion of my presentation, the government usually speaks about learner-centered education, but they teach learners in a language they don't understand. And black people, I believe that Africans are still mentally colonized by the European settlers, as they believe that everything that is pure must be done in English, because black people speak English for white people to understand them, but it tends to affect them academically, because most of the black kids, they don't perform well at school. Myself, I believe that every child has a right to learn in a language that they understand, whether it matches the language of the curriculum or not. Thank you very much for your time. Hope you enjoyed the video. Bye.